Hey guys, Samu7 here, and today we're going to be doing an HRL history episode, and I had an idea for relatively consistent HRL history episodes that I could do that I thought wouldn't be that difficult to set up, but it actually ended up being pretty difficult to set up, so not going to be doing that today. I don't want to give away the idea too early because I might be able to figure it out in the future, but wanted to get one out today, and it was just going to be too much, so I wasn't going to figure it out in time. So instead, we're going to be using random.org to help us out here. And, good old friend random.org set up an HRL history episode for today. So 1 through 4, 1 being Halo Reach 2, Halo 4, 3 MCC, and 4 Halo 5. Okay, so we got Halo 4. And if we go to Halo 4 on the docs, we have 5 series, GK, SX, Firestone, Firerock, TRS, and World of Outlaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 Go-Kart, 2 SX, 3 Firestone, Firerock, 4 TRS, and 5 World of Outlaw. So we got Go-Kart. So for Go-Kart, there's 3 seasons. So season 1 through 3. 1 through 3. Got number 2. Okay, good. I think there are some season 2 videos on YouTube. I don't think season 1 has a lot, so I'm glad that that got selected there. And I unfortunately do not have the schedules for Go-Kart, but I do have the race results, I believe, so I can still figure out the amount of races there. So let me check this out. I have the race results, and it looks like for season 2 of Go-Kart we had 3, 6, no, I think, wait, is it just 9? Hold on. 3, 6, 10. 10 races. Okay, cool. 1 through 10. Number 5. Let's see what 5 is. 3, 5, A and W. I could be crazy, but I'm like pretty sure this race is on YouTube. Just a little bit of transparency here. I've done a few redraws already of this video because some of these I've gotten a surprising, for how many videos that we do have on YouTube, I've had a surprising amount of selections doing this random.org that weren't on YouTube, and I was just getting really frustrated because there's a decent amount that are on YouTube. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to find one. And as I'm saying that, I think we got conked. I don't think A&W Season 2 is on YouTube. But, we'll compromise here. I believe A&W Season 3 is on YouTube. So I think we'll just do A&W Season 3 instead. That's sad. I've done so many takes, and I just keep getting conked. It's actually frustrating. But A&W Season 3 is on YouTube. So you know what? This should work. I'm compromising this time. We should be gooch. Let's go into A&W Raceway Season 3, Race 5 for Go-Kart.
Okay, so, first of all, before I even get to the race,
Man, it looks like this will actually work. Okay, sweet. Good enough.
I mention if you hear any background noise, it's my fan, and I'm sorry if you can hear it, but it's really
well, that makes sense.
Hot in my room, so
June 9th, that makes sense.
I could really care less. I don't want to burn up while recording this, but anyways, it's time for our 5th go-kart race of Season 3. 5th out of 12.
Couldn't care less,
Your
young
order
Luch.
in this race will be Sarah 1st, Elite 2nd, Papa 3rd, Browns is over on the left in 4th. Can you see? Yeah, you can see my computer. Pulling up my computer so I can tell you the heat results. But anyways, right here in 5th is Turkey Shot.
Oh, nice.
6th is
Oh, nice. We get the laptop
Gator.
in shot.
And then,
This is fantastic.
7th is
I'm just going to let
Luke.
this roll right now.
7th is Luke. 7th is Bowie Boy. 8th is Luke. I'm going to pull up, while I'm getting my camera into position, I'm going to let you guys know something real quick. The heat winners were Luke in the first heat, and then Gator in the second, and Browns was in the second. So Browns' 9-race heat winning streak ended. Turkey and Gator were kind of racing them a little dirty, so it wasn't a surprise.
Whoa,
Unfortunate
Turkey
for Browns,
and Gator, come on.
But he still holds that record for most heat wins in a row, and he probably will hold it for a long time.
There you go.
I don't know if anybody will ever beat that. I can turn off my computer now since I'm not rendering any videos. But anyways, Sticky Det is right here in this fusion reactor core. I don't know what to call it. As soon as it goes off, we're going green on A&W Raceway. Boom, there goes green, green, green. Seraph gets the best start. Elite trying
So
to.
yeah, pretty old go-kart track here, and as far as like a lot of the go-kart tracks, because this is convenient that we actually got a poll like this. We actually are doing go-kart this season, this quarantine series, bringing go-kart back for 2 races, maybe more. News on that later. Anyways, a lot of these like Halo 4, Halo Reach go-karts were pretty similar and pretty like, I don't know, like strict in a way. Like we have a little bit more freedom with the style of go-karts that are on Halo 5, and a lot of them, it makes sense, a lot of them aren't remakes too. Like for some of the other series, we have a decent amount of remakes. But for go-kart, as far as Halo 5 goes, a lot of those Halo 5 go-karts that we'll be racing are fresh layouts, and a big part of that is just because you have so much more freedom with the Halo 5 Forge too. You can do a lot more with it. Whereas with this Halo 4, Halo Reach Forge, you couldn't do as much. So we went more so with like the strict go-kart style with some of these tracks. Alright, sorry about the delay there. I really had to go to the bathroom.
Probably for
so, again,
and that little pile up that happened there.
I think we went over this in a previous one, actual cautions, when we looked at Eagle River.
Getting lined up single wide.
Actual cautions here. Single wide restarts.
Luke's gonna put down
Sticky
det right there on the core. Again, whatever you want to call it. Lining up single wide. This will be an exciting restart, and
so we're gonna get the restart going. I want to look at something. So, as far as drivers go in this race, we have a few mainstay, like recognizable names that you'll definitely get here. For HRL, we have, of course, Luke, Slaunch, and Turkey. And then Elite in this one? Yeah, so actually, this is crazy because I genuinely don't remember this. Elite here in these races, and obviously we saw Elite a lot in Halo 5 main series. That's kind of crazy. I totally, seriously, completely forgot that he even raced this, so that's pretty insane. And as far as other drivers go, we have Browns and Bowie Boy, 2 drivers that did a decent amount of go-kart racing, Halo 4, but not as much Halo 5 action. I don't know if any Halo 5 action. I feel like Browns maybe made a Halo 5 race or 2. Maybe I'm insane, I don't know. If anything. And then Seraph in this race as well. Another, if you've watched other HRL histories, may recognize his name from these Halo 4, Halo Reach races. Season 1 go-kart champion actually for him, and Gator also in this race.
Elite's gonna hold that inside, but Luke needs to run. Unfortunately, Elite was in the way, so did not complete it. There we go. Still battling for 4th. Seraph lags and stops.
Yeah, this track A&W Raceway, like I was saying, as far as these all the notifications are hilarious in these videos. As far as these old go-kart tracks go, like I said, pretty vanilla. Like if you look at oh my god, that's launch on Seraph. If you look at a lot of these turns, like pretty boxy, a lot of hairpins, a lot of focus on like the walls, making the corners. Like we have a little bit more freedom with the walls on the Halo 5 go-kart tracks, whereas with these, they're for the most part like all walled in. I can't think of any exceptions off the top of my head. Maybe like Arrowhead or something like that. But for the most part, these Halo 4, Halo Reach go-karts that's like what makes it the go-karts, is it's just always got the walls. They're always walled in, which makes for pretty different and difficult types of racing. It's really hard to, holy crap. It's really hard to race on these tracks with the walls surrounding you everywhere. But that's just the way it goes, like, with these old races. A lot of contact on these tracks. Like, even though you see some of these corners are pretty wide open, it's just sort of hard to avoid. You can still make passes, and you'll see a lot of passes happen during the race here. It's not impossible to pass, and, if you take a corner bad to try to block, you can definitely... If you're behind somebody that does that, you can definitely make things happen if they're like focusing too much on the blocking instead of trying to, run like fast. But it changes things up a lot for sure. I'd say on Halo 5 go-karts, you have a little more freedom in general to try to make moves. Like, you can still do it on here, but it is not as easy. Makes everything kind of similar to like an Eagle River in a way. So it can make starts, like these restarts and stuff like that, cautions, it can make stuff like that really important too. The big thing with cautions is that a lot of these tracks are still, if you'd be able to run a full race, you could probably get some lap traffic on these tracks. This one's a little bit bigger, but I don't know, some of these tracks you could probably get some lap traffic on. Whereas with these cautions, though, that's not really going to happen too often, unless it's literally Eagle River. Other than that, it's just not going to happen. Whereas with like the no cautions in Halo 5, lappers are almost a guarantee on a lot of tracks, a lot of races, and that plays a factor very often. Whereas in these races, with the cautions, it's just not going to happen as much.
And it looks like Turkey's going to hold on to it now. Brown's still in the lead. Brown's been leading a lot of this race. He really wants that second feature win of his career and first of this season. That feature win would really put him in the points lead. I mean, he's already got it, but that would just give him a huge bump. Oh, Bowie and Gator battling. Bowie finally caught up to Gator. Luke finally caught up to him too. We have a huge pack back here. I'm going to pause it a little bit. There we go. There's Gator. Oh, Papa and Seraph seem to get into a little bit of a pileup. Papa's been involved in almost every single pileup this race, it seems. And that's going to bring out another caution. So we're going to get lined up here.
These are facts. Slanch was not able to avoid the cheese this race. But yeah, like, so go-kart in Halo 4, I think the big difference with go-kart in Halo 4 than go-kart in Halo Reach is obviously like the GP, like the goose physics, a lot different. In Halo Reach, as far as like road course racing went, the gooses were a lot more loose and a lot more like slidey. Like in Reach, a lot of the times when you'd take chicanes, if there was like a fast chicane on the track, and it was difficult to do in Reach, but if there was a fast chicane on a track and a driver was able to take it full speed, if you were looking at it from like a third-person perspective, it would look like a drift race. It would look like they were holding onto the brakes, and they were like drifting around the chicane. Whereas recent like 343 Halos, MCC, Halo 4, Halo 5, that's not really what it looks like. It looks more like a stable vehicle. Whereas in Halo Reach, like I said, it would look like they were drifting around corners, and you could have a little more freedom to do different things with your road courses and GPs, go-karts in Reach because of that. And there maybe was a bigger skill gap because of that too. Like, I personally found chicanes for the most part a lot harder to pick up in Halo Reach. Like, once you picked it up, you picked it up, right? But it was definitely a lot harder to pick up how to take chicanes, whereas it's a little more like intuitive. Hi, Jared. It's a little more like intuitive in this game and in more recent Halos. Elite in the lead. Yeah, Brown's literally using the drift right there. That was kind of funny. You don't see that happen very often in these tracks. I don't think that's very fast, but that's what he did there. And see, that's what's tough. Like, tough to make passes on these tracks because of stuff like that. Like, you try to make a move, and Elite not even really like forcing him in the wall, but there's just not enough room there. And this is an interesting layout in this track too. I don't know if this is one that would ever come back to Halo 5, but pretty, like I said, pretty basic, pretty vanilla layout here. A few like these types of corners. I don't know if like that type of corner right there would work very well on Halo 5. But the cool thing is, like, the gooses, you could still, like, Halo 4 had a pretty decent, Halo 4 MCC had like a pretty decent balance of like the 343 style of physics and like the Reach style of physics, so you could still slide out a little bit, and there's like traction lock in this game too. Whereas like Halo 5 just doesn't really have as much of that. That's unfortunate for Browns right there. But yeah, so you could still, like what we saw with Luke catching up to Browns a few corners ago. Like those, like even like here, how you can just like sort of slide it in. Like that's something that you would see that very commonly in Reach. Like in Reach, that's just how you take a corner. But in Halo 4 MCC, it's just not as common that you see corners taken like that. Like the goose physics are so much different. It just makes for different type of racing. And you know, if you switch from game to game, and you haven't played the games in a while, it can definitely be a big jump, and it can be like a huge surprise too. Especially if you're someone that joined in late and you didn't race on those games at all. Like if you were to go on Reach for a night, check out some of those tracks, you'd probably be mind blown, and you'd probably be pretty slow at first. Like if you're like a decently fast MCC or Halo 5 driver, then check out Reach for the first time and check out those tracks. Like you'd probably be way off the pace, because it's just not even because of being bad at it, but just because it's different. It's literally a different beast. It's not like jumping from Halo 4 to Halo 5, where you could probably, even though they're different too, you could dude, what was Gator doing? Like what the hell? Like you could probably do it with like Halo 4 and Halo 5 and not have to adjust too much, whereas adjusting from those games, especially if you haven't, oh my god, especially if you haven't played Reach before, it's like learning racing again, how different the physics were. So that's why I think people are more willing, amongst other reasons, but why a lot of people are more willing, or why they want to go back to something like Reach more than something like Halo 4 or MCC. And yes, there's definitely some other reasons, other aspects to this as well, is just because of the physics, because of how different of a game it is. Like it may not have the best forge, may not have some of the luxuries that we have now, but just the physics themselves were just so unique compared to the last few games that we've had. So I think a lot of people long for that. Like Supercross, for an example. Maybe we'll get a Supercross episode in for Reach at some point. But Supercross, for example, like Supercross berms on Reach. You know, how often are you taking a berm full speed on Halo 5? Or like Halo 4 or something like that, you know? How often is that happening? Not very often. It's pretty infrequent. Pretty much never. You know, even if it's like a slight break, you're always gonna like brake, slow down a little bit on berms for the most part in these recent Halos. Whereas in Reach, you were off the pace if you were slowing down for berms. Berms and Reach Supercrosses, you're gassing it all the way. You're gassing it all the way, very consistently. Oh, we're getting close to the end of this one.
Well, Gator just got taken out by his own teammate back there. Here comes Luke trying to get by Elite for that top 3. Oh, there's Bowie. Bowie's finally speeding it up. He wants to get a top 3. Some drivers battling for that podium position. Browns has got a huge lead right now. Here goes Luke. Oh, splitting the wall a little bit by Elite. Not something we haven't seen before this race. Bowie.
Well, these are facts.
Really
we did see it earlier with Browns.
Seraph ends up taking that 4th place spot he wants. Oh, Papa and Elite slowing each other down.
So that corner's actually kind of cool.
This will be a close battle with only a couple laps to go. I believe at this point it's about 3 to go. Again, I'm trying to keep as best track as possible with no... Oh, Elite goes into the wall on his own.
Ooh. And another note, I think I forged this track, and I was definitely not as refined. The forge was definitely a little bit... quite a bit of effort for me to pick up. And definitely not my best, like my cleanest forge here. I do think there's some potential on this track. Like I think this last corner is actually kind of interesting with the slides, especially when there's like battles there. I think that last corner actually is, I don't know, I feel like that last corner has potential. It's actually kind of unique. Other than that, not the best. All right, this is pretty early on Luch Forge, so definitely learning stuff here. But we had a few drivers and forgers that would make some of these tracks. So if we go through like the whole go-kart season 3 Halo 4 variety of different forgers there, this just happened to be a track that I made, because go-kart was something that was more of like an HRL thing, so it wasn't like SX where there were other series and a lot of people were pulling SX tracks, you know, like. So for the most part, Seraph cleaning out Gator. So for the most part, like if it was go-karts, I'd have to be working on a lot of the tracks, because it wasn't something that was like a mainstay in other leagues and series.
I have to admit, Gator was one of those people that trolled people a lot. Oh, we had a little bit of
I think
contact
Slaunch just
up
got in the
here.
wall on his own right there.
Papa wants to take
Did he
that
lag?
back from Luke. Slides all the way on the inside, slams Luke on the inside wall.
Oh, that was really hard racing. Holy
Here comes
crap!
Bowie. Bowie's getting
It was a
in
good
that
battle.
top 3 position. He's been fighting near the end of the race, and here we come to the end. Browns fan wins. Luke second, Bowie third. And I'll give you the full lineup in just a minute. I believe.
So there you go.
I believe that's the end of the race. No, there might be another lap here.
Oh.
Since we're still going around, yep. I hate commentating like that when there's still a lap to go. Again, listen to the text, not me. This is
Oh
the
yeah,
last
I didn't
lap.
have
This
that
is
in
the
this
last
video
lap
though.
for sure.
That was like a
Battle
reach
for
thing.
fourth. Elites finally worked his way
Oh,
back
Slunch
up to
went
that
for the
last
same
place position
move.
that he put himself in. And he might salvage a 4th place right here. Here we come to the finish. That's the finish right there. Browns first, Bowie, Luke second, Bowie third, Elite 4th, Turkey Shot 5th, Papa 6th, and then...
So yeah, let me go through it on the dock here. So yeah, again, Browns taking the win. So cool that we pulled a random video where we have a different driver winning. Like that's pretty cool. You know, that doesn't happen very often, so pretty happy with that. But yeah, Browns fan taking the win here, and he had a pretty solid season here for Go-Kart Season 3. You know, maybe we'll get a little bit more into that in future episodes. We get more random polls for this. And yeah, pretty decent race right there. A lot of good crashes, a lot of good hard racing, and that's how Go-Kart went. Like all this wall contact and stuff like that. Like that's something that you don't maybe like. You're just probably not gonna see as much again, like Eagle River tracks like that. But some of these go-karts that we have on Halo 5 are a little bit more freeform and don't always have this style. But it is cool with this old style that you have that more like contact focused racing and just something a little bit different, something that we wouldn't see in like other series as much. So hope you guys enjoyed this little throwback HRL history episode here. Another Halo 4 go-kart because we had one recently as well. Pizza review time, Frankie. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I'll try to keep up the HRL history episodes, hopefully one a week, and we might just stick with the one or the random.org videos for a bit until I had another idea for a series that could be pretty good, but it needs a little bit of refinement to make it easier for me to make those. Otherwise, it's just going to be so much into each episode, like unnecessarily so much. So I'll work on refining that. I don't want to give it away quite yet, but you know, maybe for the next couple weeks we'll still have these. What is this? Maybe for the next couple weeks we'll still have these random.org ones, and then hopefully within the next couple weeks I can figure out that other idea and we can get onto that because I think it'll be a fun one. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you next time.